You're watching Non-High News in English. I'm Nigel James. Strengthening investment in Africa. Upgraded economic forecast in Myanmar. But first, breaking news tonight. A man has emerged from a Y2K Apocalypse Bunker in Taiwan after nearly 2 decades. Non-High Zoon's Fang Li has the exclusive report.
李芳芳，吉隆坡南海新闻报道。感谢 Nigel 的中肯支持。
Y2K possibly the most mysterious man on the planet, a man who has only recently seen the sunlight of the 21st century after emerging from a doomsday bunker in the hills of southern Taiwan. To discover the world hadn't actually ended after the year 2K panic almost 20 years ago. After calling the iPhone poorly designed, he agreed to give Non-High News an exclusive tour of the bunker and share his remarkable story.
Just a bit further along through these bushes.
Here in the Taiwanese mountains, a man spent almost 2 decades in a bunker under the mistaken belief the world had ended. The forest is hot and overgrown. The bunker is well camouflaged and nearly impossible to be spotted by any wandering hikers. Mosquitoes feast on our blood as ferociously as Team Edward. Mere miles from civilization, but such a tucked-away location might as well have been another planet.
And here is the entrance here.
Let's just jump into it. Why would you do this?
I read the teachings of Peter Norvig. I fully understood both the reliance modernised society had on data devices and the lack of redundant systems necessary to mitigate catastrophe. Naturally, given the doomsday worries, I saw fit to enact a contingency plan. This is where I slept. The majority of equipment and outfitting has been moved off-site as a museum may request it because, and I'm just keeping it real here, my story is hella fresh. Here is where I worked on programs and made thousands of simulations.
Think bunker these days, and you're likely to think of a concrete fortress under the plains of North Dakota or a tunnel in the Alps. But according to him, Taiwan was a prime location given the nature of the disaster.
This was chosen primarily for climatic reasons. Harsh snows or oppressive heat would be intolerable. It also necessitated proximity to a durable network uplink. My aim was to observe the effects of Y2K via computer and assess the situation as it overarched its acme. Something, perhaps a tarsier, chewed through the cable almost immediately and the uplink went dark. Wow, these mosquitoes are rancorous little things, aren't they? Too bad Y2K didn't take care of them. Anyways, naturally I assumed the worst.
What did you do? I mean, really, what did you do in there for so long?
A large amount of focus was directed at both developing computer abstractions and an entire universe simulation for redundancy should Y2K have actuated the apocalypse. My hobby became ideating marketing concepts, such as an ad for Kotex tampons, featuring a mature Latin woman who was a sort of mishmash between Jack Bauer and a Guatemalan warlord. I called her the most interesting woman in the world.
Pages and pages of ad concepts, billion-dollar marketing and tech IP, all in this unsecure, flimsy notepad. Unwilling to exit the bunker for food or water, he had to resort to a massive stockpile of pre-packaged food. His only source of hydration, recycled urine.
My main source of sustenance was the 2 most in-fad foods of 1999, Go-Gurt and veggie burgers. My stockpile of Go-Gurt was gone quickly. The veggie burgers did not spoil for years. In fact, the impetus for my emergence was the exhaustion of my veggie burger stockpile.
As for how he cooked the veggie burgers,
I didn't.
Eating only raw veggie burgers and drinking recycled piss, not a torture I would wish upon my worst enemy. And what filtration system he used for urine recycling.
Let's not chew that over.
Bunker construction is usually reserved for the uber-rich or the uber-paranoid. In either instance, the uniqueness and magnitude of the construction requirements caused the cost to be enormous. Luckily for him, he had a significant resource pool due to his early investment in the now notoriously defunct Pets.com. How is the technology field today? Do you like the current domination of mobile devices?
The iPhone is poorly designed. The Apple I knew in 1999 would find themselves unhappy with delivery of such a device. I am seeking an extinction of the related patents as my design dates nearly a decade earlier. I penned a letter to Apple with both rough schematics and design ethos in late 99. They will not acknowledge this letter, nor have they proposed giving me any royalties for my concept. They might just think I'm loony. Video calling should have been a launch feature. The execution was wretched. I also gently recommended being brought on board for a dramatic retooling of the company's design ethos. I don't think they were interested.
Apple representatives in London declined to comment on his claims. As for the most shocking news of the last 20 years,
I was surprised to hear the .com bubble was a bubble. Also now Pluto isn't a planet. WTF. Hilary Duff generated monumental recordings in the early and mid-2000s. It's a shame she never truly made it as a pop star. That was probably the biggest disappointment, really.
And if there was anything else that disappointed him?
The quality of Pepsi has fallen dramatically. Even after a diet of mostly soy derivatives and recycled urine, it still has poor taste.
In spite of all this, he has had no problems getting back on his feet and has even opened a computer store and web development business in honour of his tribulation. As for evolutions in the web since 1999,
Web 2.0 almost ruined the internet. From what I can discern, Web 2.0 was a steaming heap of elephant shite promoted by the untalented in an attempt to befog the lines between talent and artless button mashing by standardizing everything down to the lowest common denominator of austerity and unvarnished fatuousness. The imbecility that was Web 2.0 gave rise to this current version of the internet where everything looks the same and there's absolutely not a single interesting thing on the entire www. Except my website, of course.
What about women? Have you had difficulty with relationships after this ordeal?
I have since been overindulging in that department, and I'm not lacking any experience.
And what's he working on now?
We are hastily careering towards a real apocalypse with regards to AI, artificial intelligence. The potential animus of intelligent machines and other animatronic myriadoms is a far greater threat to humanity than any global war or natural disaster. I may have been wrong about Y2K, but I'm right about this. Plus, that was a sick movie. I just watched it for the first time last night.
Fang Fang Lee, Nunhei News.
Thanks, Fang Fang. Strangely, the man would only allow us to address him as the Chosen One. Africa is currently a foreign investment hotspot.